Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about the song If You Have to Ask off the Blood Sugar Sex Magik album. Now I wanted to do this song right after I did Power of Equality a few months ago, but I ran into a couple problems because his guitar tone's kind of all over the place. For most of the album you hear John using different Marshall heads, a Fender Hot Solid State amplifier, but for this song specifically you hear John using a guitar DI track, meaning you're not hearing his guitar being plugged into an amplifier with a microphone picking up the speaker cabinet. All you're hearing is John's most bare sound because the Stratocaster was plugged straight into the mixing console and the preamp channel was being used as an amplifier, and then that signal is going to be processed, mastered, put on a tape machine, and if you don't have the right elements like the guitar or the pickup already, then it's going to be very difficult, but we're going to get close. Alright everybody, very quickly I'm going to go over the gear that I was using for this video, but first I gotta give credit where credit is due. Mr. Alex Caminetti, fellow YouTuber, did this huge rundown of every instrument, every audio piece of gear that was involved in the Blood Sugar Sex Magik production. Yeah, we can all see the Funky Monks documentary, but that guy actually went into detail and was able to find out what everything was used for. So Mr. Caminetti, big fan. I would watch those videos that you posted over and over again. It's super nerdy. Everyone that's watching this video should go watch those. And I'll just give you a brief rundown of the research that he did that was able to help me out for this video. Now I know you guys are tired of hearing it, but yes, there was a Neve involved in the recording for Blood Sugar Sex Magik. And in Alex's video, he was able to kind of determine which Neve modules were in those recording consoles. And one of those options might have been, you guessed it, the Neve 1073. I know you guys are tired of hearing about this thing, but this is literally the best piece of gear in the studio for recreating the Red Hot Chili Pepper tone. It's just those guys like to record analog, and there's a reason why, because it sounds good. You can definitely use a plugin. This is probably the cheapest decent alternative that you can get to actually buying a vintage Neve module, which are in the tens of thousands of dollars, but this thing works good enough for me. Warm Audio isn't sponsoring this video, but if you're watching, send me some more. And another thing that I found out in one of those videos was that they used what's called a DBX 120 compressor. They had a few of them on the back of the wall in the mixing room, most likely the drums, but also probably every instrument that was used for the record. Yeah, there was an LA2A, there was a couple of 1176s, but those are probably used for more vocals and not something crazy and punchy like a guitar, bass, or drum set. And those are also pretty expensive, but luckily I was able to get a used Audioscape 260 VU. This is a one-to-one replica of the old DBX 160 VUs in a stereo package. It has a really fast compression, and when you drive it, it actually gets this really nice gain distortion that you will need for this tone, because despite what people might think, the If You Have to Ask tone isn't very clean. It's going to have some crunch to it, and this is probably the secret sauce that I've been missing for the longest time. And the 260 VU is going to be used as an insert, and I'm going to be putting this into the insert send and returns of the Warm Audio EQ, which acts kind of like a guitar effects loop, and I am able to punch this in and out while I'm tracking or mixing for this video. Now, because this song does call for a DI track, I can technically run my Stratocaster going straight into the Warm Audio because there is an instrument level input. The only problem with that is that it's going to be a high Z level input. It can get kind of noisy, and the best way to avoid that is to actually turn this unbalanced guitar signal into a balanced signal, and the best way to do that is with a DI box. I'm going to be using a Rupert Neve DI box. This allows me again to plug in my guitar straight into this as an unbalanced signal that gets transformed into an XLR balanced signal going straight into my Warm Audio 1073 EQ to give it a clean signal as possible. because back in the day they probably had to have used a DI box because a lot of those mixing consoles did not come with a high Z input. And I also want to give a big shout out to my friend Carlos J. Emilien Quezada for offering to do the solo for this song. I had asked him to record a DI track for the solo so that I could reamp it using the Franklin Audio R820. That way I can test this thing out so that we can do the subscriber contest for the next pedal giveaway. But before we go over the contest, I'm going to quickly walk you through how I use this gear and show you step by step on how I got this guitar tone. Alright everybody, bear with me. This is the first time I'm trying to actually do this setup. I have OBS running. I can't figure it out how to run with a loop without it not going over. So this is the only way I got to do it, so bear with me. I have the A cam and the B cam going right now. We also got OBS recording Luna. The blue track's going to be the original track. We're going to try to replicate the first 10 seconds of the song because we are not listening to anybody else but John. So there's no other like foreign frequencies that we have to worry about like the other instruments or the vocals for that matter. I have my Stratocaster going into the Rupert Needs DI box, going into the top channel of the WA73 EQ. This is what the guitar sounds like. Alright, so that's what my guitar sounds like right now by itself. Now I'm going to try to reamplify this guitar signal back into the warm audio so I can EQ match it a little bit better using the settings on the warm audio. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that first round, but now I'm going to EQ it further and bring out some more of those quackier frequencies. Alright, so I like that so far. All I did for the beginning was drop a little bit of the 700 range, bring up the bottom end, and then add a little bit of the super high end. And on the second wave, I boosted the high frequencies in the mid range, continue to boost the bottom end, and then add just a little bit more high end just to give it a more like it almost has like this lo-fi sound, but I think that's because of all the post-production going after the fact. But it is missing a lot of compression. That's where the 260 VU from Audioscape comes in. I'm now gonna add it as an insert and record what I have originally. And this is what it sounds like with the compressor on. We're just gonna dial it in. Alright, this is what it sounds like now. Like, I'm happy with that. That, like, is perfect for, like, a cover or something. Unless I actually have, like, the original Neves and the DBX compressor and, like, his guitar, his pickups, like, it's not gonna come that close. But this is, like, this is doable for sure. Like, I'm happy with that. And all I would do is just, like, run the whole song completely through, keep tweaking it here and there, and then at the very end add the compressor, and that's how I got that sound. Alright everybody, for this last part of the video, I just want to show you guys what the guitar track would have sounded like going through an actual amplifier, a speaker, a microphone, compared to an actual DI track that we've been listening to this whole time. I have my Fender Stratocaster being plugged straight into an MXR Dynacomp that was made in the 1980s, going into the Rupert Neve DI box, into my Triangular Lab Marshall Major, straight into a JCM 800 cab with a H.O.T 75 speaker, being mic'd up with an SM57, and that same guitar signal coming out of the MXR Dynacomp is going to be coming from the XLR output of the Rupert Neve DI box straight into the Warm Audio preamp. I'm going to be recording both tracks at the same time so that I can quickly switch between the two tracks when we listen back to it and see how big the differences are between the two. Alright, so I just finished editing that last part, and like honestly, like I didn't realize that I had my MXR, like the sensitivity, like literally jacked all the way up. But to me in the room, it honestly sounded like really good. It sounded just like the record. But like listening back to it, it almost sounds very unusable. Still lacks that like high mid, has too much bottom end compared to the DI track. And then listening to the DI track that included the MXR Dynacomp, it actually sounded very close to the original record. But if you're looking for that specific sound, I would highly recommend a Dynacomp. These things are really cheap. This one runs on 9-volt batteries only, like there's no power jack on any of the sides. But I've owned a couple, they all sound the same. So if you're looking for the if you have to ask tone on a budget, get a Dynacomp, put it on your pedal board, you won't regret it. And like we all know, this thing was all over the record, so it's definitely a must-have. But no way, the sensitivity all the way up, that's like insane. I didn't realize I had it that much. It just sounded good in the room to me, so this is definitely not how I would use it live. Like I would probably, you know, tame it just a little bit, that way you can get a little bit more of a natural guitar sound. But because the if you have to ask tone is very compressed, that's the way I set it up. But hey, get one for yourself, try it out, see what works. Also, this talking point I'm filming right now was filmed after the outro for this video that's about to come up. I just recently posted the studio tour vlog, and I told everybody who watched it to comment down below in that video what they wanted to play for the pedal giveaway contest, but nobody watched it. So we're going to do it on this video because I'm sure this one's going to get more views, because the recreational tone videos do very well for me. So just listen to what I have to say in this next part. Alright everybody, that's pretty much it for this week's video. For Carlos's part for the solo, all I did was I asked him to record a DI track, which he did, using his guitar interface. And then he sent me the file, which I was able to send from my DAW using Luna. I sent this guitar track going out of my guitar interface on channel 4, I believe, going out straight into the Franklin Audio R810 into the Boss DS2. It wasn't turned on, it was just being used as a buffer, which I didn't honestly need. Going into the WH10, which you do need for the solo, from the WH10, going into the Fender Hot Amp. On the lead channel, the contour's at about 4, so is the volume, no reverb, and that's how you get that sound from the 10-inch speaker inside the Fender Hot Amp. And I also just want to say thank you very much to my friend Carlos. Carlos, mucho gusto trabajar contigo. Me recuerdo cuando tú me preguntaste que se quería hacer un video con usted y nuestro amigo Alex. Mucho gusto conocerlo y nos damos ganas en el futuro, amigo. Pero muchas gracias por ayudarme con este video. Dios le bendiga a usted, amigo. I've been stuck in here trying to crank out videos for you guys. I have not been posting at all lately. A big problem of that is because there's constantly people rehearsing. I don't know if you can hear the drummer right now, but it's really annoying, especially when I want to do these talking points. And sometimes these talking points can be like the most boringest part of the video, but I feel like it actually needs to be said for the context of how these tones are getting done. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Currently Tuesday the 27th. I'm not going anywhere, but at the same time I don't know how many more of these videos I'm gonna crank out before the holidays hit, because that's when like my actual job starts like picking up, because I work in the service industry. But yeah, we are gonna go ahead with the contest. Again, all you gotta do is like, subscribe, comment down below which song you guys want to perform down in the video description down below, and the song with the most upvotes that you guys have to record yourselves doing. And then you guys will decide who gets the pedal in the end, because you'll be judging yourselves. I'm gonna stay out of it. All I'm gonna do is post who the winner is. They're gonna get the Boss DS2 made in Japan or a $50 Reverb gift card. We'll see how that goes. In the meantime, happy holidays, be safe. See you guys in the next one. Thank you so much. Have a good night.